Hello and welcome to my always messy area, of course. What artist area isn't? But today I wanted to go over a technique that I actually tried out last night that worked incredibly well for me whenever I was struggling to draw something but knew what I wanted. So this technique, I actually learned it from, I believe it's called Book and Paper Arts. It's either Paper and Book Arts or Book and Paper Arts. I will link her channel and the video that I looked at that helped me with it. But I had learned from her channel how to do this technique and have really enjoyed how it's turned out. So I wanted to share this technique with you. And all you need is a magazine cutout of what you're trying to paint, some watercolor pencils and some gesso, and that's all you need. And a watercolor pencil, or I guess this is like a paintbrush thing, but yeah. So I'm gonna show you a picture real quick, and I apologize if you don't like spiders. This will only take a couple of minutes. I just want to show you what it looked like yesterday when I did it. So in my Scabby journal, one of the prompts was to do your favorite animal, and for the life of me, I could not draw a spider. I tried over and over again. I was getting really frustrated when I was trying to practice. So when I saw this technique, I was like, oh my God, I should try that. And so what you need is a magazine cutout of whatever you're trying to do, whether it be an animal, a flower, a person, whatever it is. And then you're just simply going to glue it down on that page, and then you'll be doing the steps I'm going to help you through. Okay? So we're going to do a butterfly, because I also need a butterfly for my scavenger hunt. And the only thing that I have done is I went ahead and made a background, because the first time I did, I didn't put a background, and then I felt silly because then I was smearing around background everywhere. This is a picture from a magazine. If you don't have a magazine, I don't know if the smoothness is something that you need, or if it's just so happened that she was just trying to explain how to get rid of the smoothness. So you can always use photo paper or a magazine, but the ones that she showed had like a glossy smoothness over it already, and she said that she either got them from magazines or coffee book table books. So what I did is I not only have the magazine cut out, but I also made a photocopy of it. That way I could keep track of the colors and the patterns on the butterfly. And then the first thing that you're gonna do is take a black watercolor pencil, or maybe you have like anything water soluble, like a black, wow, that word just totally left my mind. Oil pastel, that's the word that I couldn't think of. I was like, why am I not thinking of this? And of course it's because I'm recording myself, and you get nervous when you record. So what you're gonna do is all the way around the image, both on the image and off of the image, use your pencil and just color around the edges. So I've not only got on the actual picture itself, but I'm also gonna put it on the edges. And remember, this is, let's say that you really, really want to do this image, but you're just maybe you're having a bad drawing day, or maybe you just can't figure out how to draw the object at all, and you're like me, and you're like, I love spiders, I know exactly what they look like, but this is not working for me. This is gonna help you, because we are gonna turn this image into a painted masterpiece. But first we gotta white out some stuff. So I'm just gonna keep going around. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up the book here so that you can kind of see what I mean a little bit easier. So not only is it on the picture, but it's also on the edge of the paper as well. And I think I'm also gonna go inside the wing too. Just because, and you'll wanna push a little hard to kind of get it going there. So we wanna make sure there's plenty of the product on there. And it's okay if you don't quite go perfectly around it, because you're not actually going to be able to see what you're doing after we're done, and you'll see what I mean whenever we go with the gesso. Because we're actually going to be using the gesso as almost like a whiteout in a way, and we're going to white out the whole image. And it's going to feel weird, but it's going to end up with a really cool effect. And once again, I am just going to go ahead and go like this. And the watercolor pencils I'm using are just simply Crayola ones, so you don't even need fancy ones, which is kind of cool. Because I did that spider image with just regular watercolor pencils made by Crayola. And we'll add antennas after we're done with like Poscas or something. Okay, so I've got that in there now. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my watercolor brush, but instead of using watercolor, I'm gonna use gesso. She did say that if you don't want to ruin your brushes, it probably is best for you to use a different brush, but I did use this brush yesterday and it feels totally fine. I just made sure I washed it really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a little paint tray so that I can put the gesso on it. There's kind of an old janky one here I can use. No! Oh god. Okay, most of it stayed in the cup. I was like, oh my god, no. Oh no. My desk does not need more disaster on it. Oh my god, that scared me. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of gesso on my brush, and I'm gonna start smudging. And like I said, it's gonna feel really weird and janky at first, because you're gonna be like, oh my god, what am I doing? This looks really muddy, but it's on purpose. And if you are like me, I like to kind of stay tight to it, I decided. But if you're like her, she actually pulled it out more. I've already made a background though, so I don't really want to pull it out any more than what it needs to be. So I'm just gonna go at it like this. And the idea is we're getting rid of those perfect photo lines, but we're still kind of having the shape of our insect here, or whatever it is that you're choosing to do this with. It's really cool. In her video, she did it with a bird, a flower, and a person, which is really neat. And all of them turned out amazing. Let's see here. Get that good and gesso-y. Is gesso-y a word? I don't know. And as I've told you, I think it was, boy, probably just a week or two ago, I've never really used gesso before. So one of the reasons I got excited about this technique is I have a whole thing of liquid latex gesso that I found at Dollar General, or not Dollar General, oh no, it was at, it was at one of those little thrift stores. Which one was it? It was, I could see it in my mind here. Goodwill. It was at Goodwill, yeah. Somebody had donated their gesso to Goodwill, and I had tried out the different mediums to see what kind of mediums I might like, and I kind of liked the gesso. I didn't mind it. So now I'm like, what can I use gesso with, you know? So when I saw this technique, I was like, ooh, this is fun. I could try that. And it ended up being pretty successful. I feel like I've gotten lots of compliments on that spider picture. So I'm pretty happy with the turnout. There we go. And then I'm just gonna gesso out the rest of the spider. Or I mean spider, goodness. The rest of my butterfly. Because we are gonna paint over that. And this is also going to get rid of the shine too. So it's not only are we deleting the image, like we're almost like reverse collaging in a way, but we're reverse painting. But we're also getting rid of that glossiness as we go. And it's gonna really be able to let our creativity run wild. Because we don't have to do it the way the original butterfly was. We could even do like a psychedelic butterfly if we wanted to. But maybe you struggle with drawing butterflies. There's no harm in that. Maybe you're a great painter, you're just not a great butterflyer. I feel like I've been doing great at art stuff, but like I said, drawing 8 legs and 2 pedipalps was a bit much for me. So I chose this method and it worked out. I'm just gonna white her all out here. Alrighty there. So we've gotten her pretty whited out here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get my brush cleaned off, which should be pretty easy to do. So this is a watercolor brush where it has water in it, so I'm just literally squeezing it on the towel and wiping off the gesso as I go. Oh, I got gesso on my hand. And like I said, my brush never got ruined from this when I did it with the spider, so hopefully it wouldn't this time either. If it does, I have more. I am not afraid. Now, one thing that you might have to do though is after you clean off this brush, if you choose to do it the lazy way like me, is you might have to refill it with water. But other than that, you know, just kind of go until you've got a clean stroke with no more gesso on it. Okay, so I'm gonna hit this with my gun here, my heat gun, just to kind of dry it a bit. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start adding colors, but I'm gonna start with a yellow first because that's the first color I see. So I'm just gonna go in here, and I also see a little bit of orange on the edges, so I might mix a bit of those. I'm just gonna touch my butterfly to make sure it's dry, and it is. So I've got my 2 colors here, and then using this, I'm gonna kind of keep track of where these things are. So I see, oops, I need to sharpen this a little bit, it looks like. Here's a sharpener. Give me 1 second to sharpen that. Oh. Okay, here's one, and then let me sharpen the other part. Right. So I'm gonna start going in here with these colors. And remember, these are watercolor pencils, so the idea is I'm still gonna be painting with them, basically. And I'm just gonna do the colors first, and then I'll go through and do it with the black to go and put the details in. I think the other kind of cool thing about this is now my patterns are not going to exactly be the same exact way the butterfly is. Even though I can see the butterfly in there underneath the gesso, it's going to have my own flair on it, which is kind of cool. Because it'll be whatever I see. And I don't think there's really a way to mess up a butterfly. Butterflies are pretty interesting looking. So, oh, there's an orange up here. I'm doing these lighter colors first with the hopes that I won't accidentally mix other colors in with them. Give it just a little something, something. Oh, more gesso on my hands. That gesso really likes me. Maybe I'll move this out of the way over here. Oops, I forgot this one over here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with that. And I'm gonna just wiggle it around here and get some of that yummy orange in with my yellow. I'm just going to turn it into a really pretty sort of orange yellow. I absolutely have grown to love watercolor pencils. As a kid, I never really watercolored much because I always used just the cheapo ones like that you'd get in school and stuff, and I didn't really like them. Because it felt like you couldn't really paint with them. So now as an adult, finding all these fun tools like this, I love it. It's okay that that little scrape's in the paint, because there's like a little black scrape there. Maybe that's just part of the butterfly's interesting coloring. Happy accidents, as Bob Ross says. Oh no, we didn't put any orange over here. Goodness. That would have looked silly. Got got all excited about the spots up top and didn't think about that. Okay. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Oh, better get this guy too. Here we go. So the next colors I'm seeing are blues and some greens in there. So I'm gonna go through and do that as well, but first I'm gonna dry it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get my green here because I just see like a spot of green, not a lot. So I see it kind of here. And just like a scotch right here. So this is where it kind of, like, to me gets a little fun because you just kind of, it feels like you're almost designing it yourself. Because you're looking, but you know, you're still just drawing what you see. I could have used a little bit of this lighter green in there too. Maybe I'll give like a hint of it and see what happens. Something like that. Yeah, it's pretty. Okay, so I've got those in there. And then I'm gonna wanna hit it with my heat gun again. I'm gonna do it from a little up top though, so I'm not moving the water around a lot. Okay. Now I'm gonna take my two blues that I've got. I've got a light blue and a dark blue. And to me, it looks like the lighter blue is on the inside of the wings and then it fades into a darker blue. So I'm gonna go with that and just kind of do like a fan out situation. And this one even goes down a bit like that. Okay. And that looks pretty good. We need to, yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. So I'm gonna go with that. And then the other thing I'm gonna do is for the body of the butterfly, I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit of something to the body. What I would like it to look like after I add the black back in is that it just looks like parts of the body are really shiny. And that's kind of what I did with my spooder legs as well. Gave it a little bit of a shine. And it also kind of makes it look more segmented because insects are kind of segmenty. You know what I mean? So let's try that and see what we come up with here. So I'm gonna start up here. And just kind of watery, make that circle painted. Ooh, we're getting some bleed in there, which is pretty. See, the greens are bleeding into the blue, which I think actually kind of looks like that butterfly anyway. So maybe what we'll do is up here, we can also touch the green a little bit and see what happens. Good and watery. All right. Looks pretty good. And I'm just gonna let it chill for a second so it'll dry. Now, while it's drying, we already know that these parts over here are dry, so I'm just gonna sharpen up my black, and in a minute I'm gonna start going back around the whole butterfly with black again, this time without the gesso because we want the black to stay. Oh, all my pencil sharpeners are breaking. I have a nice automatic pencil sharpener around here somewhere, and I saw it recently even. I don't know what I did with it. I feel like that's always how it goes though, huh? All right. I'm gonna keep looking around to see if I get a hint or a peek of it. But not yet. All right, so I think I'm gonna start down here probably, and there's gonna be a lot of black because all of this in here is supposed to be black. So I'm not gonna be afraid, and I'm just gonna do what I gotta do. And I'm not coloring too deeply with it because I know that the black's gonna spread, which is fine. But I am gonna do it both on top and over. That way I don't have a huge hard line in the middle of my piece, because nobody wants that. We're gonna let it be blendy. And we'll be adding the white back in, like these dots and stuff, with Posca later. I did try that on it and it worked out pretty good. Okay. We got the same thing going on up here. Except now we have a big old area that needs to be black. Because we've got all of these little nooks and crannies. And it's gonna look like we're blacking out the butterfly, and that's totally fine, because that's what the butterfly looks like. Don't want to be afraid. If we mess up, we're still gonna make a really pretty butterfly. Back in between here again. So that's what's gonna separate my wings. Like that. Ooh, my hand's getting stiff. Do a little bit of light black in here. Not gonna go too crazy over that yellow. This big old black spot again. All right, so something like that. And if we need more, we can add more. We also need just a hint of the black in here. Something like that. Okay. So let's go for it. Now remember, it's going to be a little scary at first, but right, it will look nice. Those deep blacks are going to give us a lot of good contrast. And contrast is something you need. Otherwise, it's not going to look right. So the idea here is not to let fear win and just go for it. And if we need to, we can add more layers to it. So that body right there is going to give us illusion. It's going to help us connect everything together. And I am glancing at my picture as I go, so I can see that there's little kind of like hints of black around these yellow bits. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do. Similarly, these have little bits of black between them too. Remember, we still haven't added the white yet either. This is gonna look really cool with the white. thicken this up a little bit. There we go. Interestingly, there's more white here. It's doing its thing though. So we're gonna want to circle, circle. It's okay if it's not perfectly round, because I gotta remind myself nature is not perfectly round. That would be weird. Okay. So now we can let it dry a little bit and see where we need. It looks like we might need a little bit here. There we go. I'm a little weirded out by this area over here. That I wish was darker, so I might just kind of bring it down a little bit like that. If I need to, I can go back over it with more colored pencil. We need to let it dry a little bit. So looking at this wing looks good. So I don't think we need any more black there. This wing looks okay. This right here looks a little weird to me. Not really sure what exactly happened there. It's not quite right. There we go. Okay. So now we're just gonna let that dry. I think I figured out why this looks a little strange. There should be just a couple lines in here. So I'm just gonna add those in real quick. And let our paint have some motion. Like that. And I think there should be a little bit in here too. some more of that wing color in there. That looks a little bit more butterfly-like, I think. And then what we can do is we can take some white Posca, or I can even take some black Posca real quick while this is drying and just go woo. Like that. Gonna let it, let's see here. So it looks like we've got 2 dots in here. And I might have to do it a couple of times. I'm gonna definitely have to wipe off my Posca as I go, because that black is not quite dry. Let's see. And we need 1, 2, 3. And then kind of a Mickey Mouse kind of shape here. So it has 1, 2, 3. And then dots all the way down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then down here, it looks like it mostly just has little dots, so we're just gonna do that. I think for added fun right here, I'm gonna put a second row, because that looks nice. Something like that. And then this isn't dry yet, so I'm gonna give it a little. And what I might do is I might re-go back over some of those. See, it's picking up a lot of the black in there. If I want this to remain a white Posca, not a gray Posca, I gotta keep wiping it off. Uh-oh, see? Moving the black around. Just gotta be patient with it. Oops. And at the end of the day, if I need to, I can always get an actual white paintbrush. Let's try that on top of the Posca. Maybe the Posca can just help guide us. See what happens here. We get my little liner here. And I'll do just a regular white paint for that. Here's a little white right here. here's one that I don't use for count by numbers because I suck at them. And either way, it is going to move a little bit, but maybe we can just get it to be a little bit brighter. And that would be nice. There we go, something like that. This is kind of giving a little bit more depth to those circles in a way. I think what I might do is I might add a second row up here too, just because I kind of like it. I was thinking I kind of like this technique enough that if I wanted to, I could make a tiny journal to practice in it. Just pick different magazine things, like maybe a different thing each time. I think the next thing I'm going to try to do in one of my art journals is a bird. Just because I really am not good at drawing birds. So if I could get that to work, that would be really cool. Okay, so I think that side of there is ready for Pashka. So let's try it. So I'm going to start up here. On that side they're a little bit bigger, but that's okay. There, maybe that's better. And we've got 1, 2, 3. And then all the way back around again. Oh wait, we gotta do our Mickey Mouse shape. Kind of like that. And I think this needs to be a little bit bigger. Oop. Almost took the nib out of that. I definitely like this side better. I don't know what I did there, but it made it look weird. All right, that's okay. All right, so let's do the white on top to really make it sparkle. All right. Oops. Make that a little bit bigger. So that is how I did my spider. I started out with an image that was not a real, or that was a real image of a real spider. And I went over it with paint. In my opinion, I definitely think the spider turned out way better, but I really enjoy the look of this, and I definitely want to keep practicing it, because I think eventually the idea is the more that you practice over it, over those images, the better it's going to be, because it'll be like practice for the real thing, right? And I think it looks pretty good. It looks abstract in a weird way, and it matches the picture pretty good. So this is now my butterfly page. Let me know what you think and if you've ever tried anything like this. Thanks. Bye.